Hello, friends. I know you were left hanging last time, wondering what would happen to Varys and the Ragtags after getting thrust into a life-and-death struggle with a bunch of deadly wisps and aberrations in a giant underground nightmare nursery place. Would it help if I told you they made a new friend who was an Eladrin paladin who had been trapped in a slimy egg sac for hundreds of years? Not really? Okay. So, are you ready to hear the rest of the tale? Then let us commence. So, yeah, it wasn't looking stellar for our intrepid collection of weirdos, was it? Varys was dying. Regal had some life force drained out of him. Devrina had her brain scrambled by the psychic screams of the Dream Eaters. Answers was terrified. What a mess. So it was then that Noala, the aforementioned awakened Eladrin paladin, lay hands on Varys and brought him right back from the gates to Arvandor and back into action. Regal tossed her a great sword, and things were looking up for everyone. Unia managed to shoot and then telekinetically attack a wisp before bamfing in front of Devrina and Answers, and right up into the face of the Dream Eater that was attacking them. While brave and, yes, really cool, Dream Eaters are not to be trifled with, and this particular one engulfed our beloved Githyanki curmudgeon, racking her mind with potent and terrifying nightmares. Dimplemist, who was invisible as usual, managed to polymorph one of the Dream Eaters into a rat, and then Lilyspec levitated the rat to keep it from escaping. Regal and Drogon managed to eliminate a couple of the wisps, thinning the enemy's numbers. Then Nuala went to work, smiting one of the Dream Eaters into black ichor. And when Unia managed to misty step out of the Dream Eater's clutches, the Eladrin Knight smote it into oblivion. So, it was over. After making sure everyone was relatively okay, the Ragtags began searching the remaining eggs for other survivors. Nuala found an egg that was full of various gear and possessions from the many hostages. She found several of her own weapons and armaments. There was also a scroll case from the Bard, but there wasn't time to see what was in it just yet. In one of the first eggs investigated, the heroes found a white-furred tabaxi. It was, of course, Jewel, Answer's brother. A happy reunion took place that Varys had no trouble interrupting with questions about the Liber Lunae Infinitus and why Jewel had come here and the like. The next egg held a dishevelled and profanity-spewing wizard by the name of Cormag Sot. He was a self-described planeswalker, and was understandably angry at Morgilla, who had tricked him and placed him in these dream eggs or whatever they were. He made it clear to everyone that if they were planning an attack on Morgilla, he wanted to be a part of it. There was also a friendly fae that happened to be a bard. Oh, no, not that bard. At least I don't think he's that bard. Anyway, this bard said his name was Engun, so I'm going to choose to believe that's who he really is. Engun was deceived and captured by Morgilla, although he seemed to be a newer resident than Nuala. In the next set of eggs, the companions found some more friends, namely Frobisher dos Santos and Sloane Skifflefeet. The Tortle and Harangon Sealy agents they met from way back on the first day they all were in Sylvania. The two agents had teleported into the swamps and found their way to Torr Nyth, where they had had dinner with Morgilla, but had made the mistake of going to sleep in those luxurious suites, and the Archfey had put them into that cursed trance of hers. Another egg held a familiar face, although it wasn't one the Ragtags were happy to see, or one that made any sense being there, really. It was the face of Beck O'Beck, the strange, fey creature everyone had fought in the woods in Sylvania, back when they met Frobisher and Sloane. Well, this wasn't Beck O'Beck at all, but was his twin brother, Buck O'Beck. Turns out Buck and Beck's mother was Mama Ethel, a hag, and the main crime boss in Sylvania. She had been put in that role by Val Rillin, supplanting the previous crime lord, and as a price, she had to give Buck to the Lord Shade as a hostage. Apparently having no use for a whatever Buck was, Val Rillin gave the strange fae to Morgilla and, well, there he was. Fitting in with the common theme going around, Buck wasn't too impressed by all of that, so was definitely down to battle with more Gila, if it was all the same to everyone else. There were also 8 Fey commoners, 3 of which were children that the Ragtags needed to deal with as well. There were a lot of possibilities in play at the moment. Do they go head-on with Moragilla, an incredibly powerful being in her own lair? They did have a small army now, but still. Should they try and speak with her, and appeal to her emotions and sense of redemption? So many options. Before everyone gathers themselves and begins discussing the next steps, let's give them a moment. It's been a long couple of minutes in the egg chamber death zone.